You want to know what's going on here in the local Southern Oregon real estate market, not New York, LA, or Texas, right? It's current and local information that's most relevant to you, and it'll help you make the best decisions you can about buying, selling, or investing in the Southern Oregon real estate market. And that's exactly what you're going to get in this video. I just reviewed the market information, and there is a massive red alert major indicator for Southern Oregon home buyers that just happened, and you are about to be the first to know about it. Hey, I'm Brian Simmons with eXp Realty. I'm a licensed real estate agent here in Southern Oregon, and I would love to hear your questions about the market. So please don't hesitate to drop a comment down below or even reach out to me directly at 541-954-7758. Now, let's cut right to the chase and get to the data and that red alert major indicator for Southern Oregon homebuyers. So it is July 19th, and as of this morning, between Jackson and Josephine counties of Southern Oregon, single-family residential homes, we had 1,132 homes on the market. And in the last week, looking at just the week ending yesterday, we had 119 new listings hit the market, 145 price changes, 31 homes came back on the market, 101 went pending, 77 closed, and 31 were either expired, withdrawn, or canceled. And so a couple quick things before I get to that huge indicator that maybe you caught it, but pending has been very, very stable. I've said that for a lot of weeks in a row now. We were 101 this past week, 101 the week before, 102 the week before that, and it's been right there for a long time. So again, anything you're hearing about, demand slowing down, it's just not true. But demand has been very, very stable, and that's a great, thing to see there. So the big indicator, though, that is just screaming, take action to me is price changes. Okay. We had 145 price changes, and that is not an anomaly. I thought last week was an anomaly when it was at 161. That was a huge number. Okay. And that, to give you an idea, that last week represented almost 15% of the total available inventory changed their price. And this week it was almost 13%. So it's been very high. Typically we're, in the 12 range. And I'm just kind of looking down at the data here. The last couple of weeks have been much higher than normal. Okay. And so what that tells me, and just looking at the timing of where we're at in the summer and what the days on market has been doing, it's telling me that there's a lot of sellers out there who maybe tried to list their home for some number, kind of last month or something earlier in the summer. They put their home on the market, they tried it, and now they're kind of like, shoot, we didn't get the result that we wanted. We didn't get people banging our door down to try to buy, which is, if you've been watching these videos, you would have known that that's what is happening right now. This isn't the time to test the market, okay? This is the time to price your home right, to have it looking right, to price it right, and to promote it right, okay? And that's how you sell homes. If you're trying to, shoot for the moon on your price, you're going to sit around and you're going to be one of these 145 people who had to cut their price. Okay. And that's, sometimes it just happens to even listings that are priced appropriately, but it can happen. But anyways, that indicator to me is screaming, hey, this is a good time to buy. All right. If you are a buyer, now is a very, very good time to be buying between now and the end of the year. Because what's happening right now is the fall season is in sight. All right. It's crazy to even think about that because it's still 100 and something degrees outside, but it is in sight. And that's something that is on sellers' minds. Okay. They don't want to go into the fall season carrying this property still. They want it sold. Okay. And their window is slowly getting a little bit closed, a little bit more closed, a little bit more closed. And they don't want that. So they are going to be more motivated. And this is an indicator of that. Okay. That big number of price changes is a huge indicator of sellers being more motivated to sell their homes. So if you are a buyer and you've been kind of like, I'm going to wait it out, don't. Just go for it. I mean, that's what I'm telling my clients, I'm telling my friends and family, anybody, go for it. Like, now is the time between now and the end of the year that I would tell you, if you've been thinking about buying, this is the time you want to go for it. And I'm going to talk more about that next week with a special guest that's going to explain somewhat of the cost of waiting. And so I'm not going to tell you who that is yet, but he's coming. He's excited. And I'm excited to have a special guest on here. So it'll be a little bit of a different interview or a little bit of a different episode than normal. But I'm really, really excited to share that additional knowledge with you guys. So that's gonna be fun. But yeah, so price change is just a massive, massive, major indicator for home buyers in Southern Oregon, and something that I think you really need to pay attention to. Um, Days on market is the other one, and I haven't pulled up the exact days on market. I looked at the chart and see it. And what generally happens every year is that days on market kind of bottoms out, and that's days on market is just how many days the average listing takes to sell, and it typically bottoms out in June or July. All right, and then it slowly kind of starts climbing up, climbing up, climbing up until we get to December or January, and then it peaks, and then it kind of starts coming back down. And so that's the cycle of the real estate market in really pretty much any city in the U.S. Or in the northern hemisphere typically. But anyways, so that's what we're seeing is days on market is kind of at that point where it's going to start picking up. Price changes are already starting to pick up, and so if you're a buyer, this is a really good time to be looking at, maybe we'd make a move on a home because we can leverage, that motivation of the sellers to get ourselves a better deal, to get, them to kick in some funds and pay for your closing costs, to get them to kick in some funds and buy down your rate. There's a lot of different strategies out there to take on to where you can make home affordable, and then you can get catch all this appreciation, sorry, that I believe is going to happen. Okay, I've been confident that the market is going to go up, and I feel like I'm more confident now in that than I've probably ever been. Considering all of the different factors, looking at the inventory levels, which is simple supply and demand. That's obviously the supply side, but looking at the demand side, rates are almost there's a lot of people thinking the rates are going to go down. I can't say it's like a given, of course not, but the way that inflation has been going, inflation affects rates. The rates that the Fed sets, that affects the rates that you can get on a mortgage. Almost everybody's expecting that to come down by the end of the year. And like I've said in past videos, if those rates come down, you can start to get a mortgage rate in the fives again. And we go into next spring with that. It's going to be a free-for-all. And you're going to see home values skyrocket again. And I don't think it's crazy to think that you might see a 10% appreciation in your home value over the next year. Between right now and July of 2024, to me, that doesn't seem crazy. Okay? And so if you could buy your home now and you spend $400,000 on a home and you can get a $40,000 appreciation in a year, is that a good decision? I think so. But, you have to be the judge of that, of course. But that's what I'm saying. I think that if you buy now and you can see that big appreciation, it may not happen though, right? Like, of course I have to tell you, like, that may not happen, right? The market could crash. But if you look at every actual data point, they all point in a certain direction. Okay. You might talk to, your friend who's, knows somebody that owned a rental property one time, and they're the ones that are telling you the market's going to crash, but they have no data to back it. They have no, nothing to support their claim other than they just think it's going to crash because it usually, crashes every 10 years or something. It's like, it's complete crap. It doesn't work like that. Markets don't crash because they're on a crash clock that just goes off. That's not what happens. Okay. There's a reason for when markets go down, just like there's a reason for how we got in the situation where we're in right now, where mortgage rates are really high. There's a reason for that. And that's because inflation was high. And there's a reason for that, which kind of gets into a whole nother, conversation about, the economy and how it got to that point, through, just a lot of different stuff. Anyways, don't want to go down that rabbit hole, but the point is, the market is in a really, really, really good position for you as a buyer to buy and to realize the appreciation that we're probably going to experience, in my opinion. Okay. So anyways, like I said, I'm going to have a guest on next week who's going to be able to speak to a lot of the costs of waiting. And that's one of the things that I think a lot of people have a misconception of, is they think, well, I'm just going to wait until, home values come down, or which is ridiculous to think that's going to happen. But I'm going to wait for home values to come down, or I'm going to wait for mortgage rates to come down. Like I said, just tune in next week because you are going to really, really love what you're going to hear there in that conversation. And because we're going to break it down and show you the actual numbers of what it's going to look like if you decide, hey, I'm going to wait. Let's say in August, that you, instead of waiting, you buy in August. How does that look over the next year? We're going to look at all of that stuff and run through some scenarios and really give you numbers to look at. And that, I think, is something that's pretty powerful. So I really encourage you to tune in to next week's video. Make sure in the meantime you just click on that like button and hit the subscribe little icon there, and click on the bell too, so that you can be notified when that video comes out next week. So again, I'd love to hear your feedback. I'd love to hear your comments on what you think the market's going to do. If you think I'm crazy, tell me. Would love to have that conversation in the chats, or sorry, in the comment section, or reach out to me directly. 541-954-7758 is my direct number. You can call me or text me right here, and I would love to hear from you. So again, Brian Simmons, eXp Realty here in Southern Oregon. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next week.